So although you're thinking, oh, it's not that impressive, it's not that good, he should be better, that's because you're living in bizarro world where you think that every person on social media is the norm. So what is the difference between training enhanced, what can you expect to gain, versus training natural? Well, in this video, they show the difference. 7 years of natural training versus 6 months training while enhanced. And in the video, you clearly see the guy who trained 6 months looks a lot bigger, better, more jacked than the other guy. And they said the other guy 180 pounds versus he's only 158, same height. First thing you have to notice is this. This is bullshit video. It's bullshit. One guy is standing closer to the camera. You ever heard of being out-angled? I can look bigger than Big Rammy if I stand closer to the camera in a certain way and angle it just right. So this is not a fair comparison. But let's assume that it actually was, okay? If it actually is fair, does that mean that you should expect to gain as much muscle in 6 months training enhanced as natural in 7 years? Well, it depends. It always depends. What are your genetics like? I'm going to tell you right now that many people look better with 6 months of natural training than others who have used performance-enhancing drugs for 7 years. Look at Antoine Vaillant or Quentin Beast Mode when they were teenagers. Look at them as teenagers. Did they look jacked? Yeah, they look bigger than both of these guys as teenagers. So just because somebody's using PDs for 6 months doesn't mean they're gonna look huge and amazing. And just because you're natural doesn't mean you can't look good. I look a lot bigger than these guys, both of them, and better. Arguably, yeah, I get it. I'm not trying to brag, but as an 18-year-old, I look better than both of these guys, and I'm telling you I was natural. So if you have really good genetics and you train natural, you can accomplish a lot. And there's a lot of hate, a lot of shit given to the guy who trained natural for 7 years saying, that's all you got in 7 years? That's it? You could have done it in 5 years, 3 years, whatever. Listen, his genetics are probably average. Average person, that's what you can expect to gain 7 years. It's not quite to his full potential, but perhaps it's getting there, maybe 3/4 of the way there. If you have shitty genetics, you could train for 20 years with PDs, not look that good. So he actually looks a lot better, bigger, more jacked, more shredded, all of that stuff than a lot of people who've been training their whole lives. It depends on your genetics. Everyone hating on that poor guy, I guarantee most of them won't post a better pic despite claiming to be so much better than him. Lots of things come into play. Everyone saying, oh, he should be 3 times that size needs to get off Instagram. And that's 100% true. Just because he doesn't look ridiculously huge doesn't mean he's not training properly, that he doesn't know what he's doing. It has a lot to do with your genetics. Now this comment got 9,000 likes and 500 replies. Also, I don't think it takes 7 years to get to that guy's physique. With the right program and diet, you'll look even better in just 5 years. So he's just making a joke. I mean, obviously 7 or 5, because a lot of people are saying, oh, you should be able to look like that in 1 or 2 years or whatever. But to be honest, a lot of people won't get to that in 5 years or 7 or 15 years. And some won't get to that with PDs. And how do I know? Because I've literally seen it myself with my own eyes. Watch people who I knew are on steroids didn't look as good as this guy. They wanted to. Why do you think they were using steroids in the first place? They're trained properly, using steroids because they wanted to look like the guy. The guy had been training 7 years natural. For a lot of people, that would be their dream physique. So although you're thinking, oh, it's not that impressive, it's not that good, he should be better, that's because you're living in bizarro world where you think that every person on social media is the norm. The people that you're watching on social media are mostly the genetic elites, the freaks, the best of the best. You look at Chris Bumstead's channel and you're thinking, oh, that's how you should look if you use PDs for a few years. He won the Mr. Olympia. One person looks like that out of billions. Or you're even watching Coach Greg's channel and you're thinking, well, he's only on HRT, 140 milligrams a week, and Turkesterone now, and he looks pretty jacked, so I should be able to look like that if I use steroids. Well, I don't suggest you do this, but try it. How many people who take steroids have an IFBB Pro card? Not many. Last I checked, you had to win a major championship to get a pro card. And most of the people competing at these competitions are all on PDs, abusing them. And one person gets a pro card. It's not frigging easy. 2 years maybe is for the trial and error. Many people experience that. So he's suggesting that most people get that kind of look in 2 years. People just have no clue. They don't know what it actually looks like to train or what most people look like if they do train. Even the people at the gym, it's a self-selected biased sample. Most people who go to the gym are already pretty decent in the first place. Think of it. The people who are good at marathon running, they're not out there lifting weights trying to set bench press records. And people who are great at singing, playing the piano, perhaps they're not the most impressively built people. Maybe they're out practicing instruments or painting or playing video games. And they're not into the lifting of the weights as much. People who lift weights and stick to it for years mostly are good at it. I do things I'm good at. If I sucked at bike riding, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much. Most people like doing the things they're good at. If you're really smart in math, you probably went to university to study math. So if you just look in university and look at a math class, those people are on average smart at math. If you go and look at a class that's English, most of those people are probably good at writing. It just happens to be that way. That's how it works. So if you go to a class where they're all dancing and you say, wow, I don't dance very good compared to the average person in a dance class is probably gifted at dancing. It's just how it works. If you go to a singing class, most people there, they're probably good at singing to start with, so their genetics for singing are high. So when you go to the gym and you compare yourself to other people, or you compare yourself to this guy who's been training for 7 years, realize this, most people who are at the gym are above average to begin with. So if you walk in there and you're like, I don't really fit in, I'm not average, I don't have good genetics. You don't really know that because the people you're comparing yourself to, if it's at the gym, self-selected bias sample, and if you're comparing yourself to people on social media, myself or anyone on YouTube, Instagram, they're going to be more likely to be the elite. So rather than getting disappointed and thinking you have to take the shortcut and if you don't get results, you need to use PDs, think again. And really, compare yourself to yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch the bloops. Harder than last time supplements. Turkesterone, sleep aid, pre-workout protein, all of that. Click the link in the description. If you're interested in any of those, please go and check that out. My website, GregDoucette.com. And until next time, I am out.